Right, you lot, and I love milking video series, and even better is when I do one video that works, and then I can do another part of it, basically do the same thing again, but with less effort. It's fantastic. So, about a week ago, I did the a sort of tournament of the worst lecture we ever got, so like the least deserved one. And what I thought I'd do this time around would do the opposite and do the most deserved lecture because, I was berittering and hating on the staff, and they're quite good to be honest, with exceptions, but they do deserve some credit. And sometimes we are the ones who messed up, and we deserve to be called out. So I've gathered 32 of our worst crimes that we got lectures for, and we're going to find out what the worst crime was. So let's do it. So the first one, we got Luke Langs's stupidity against that woman. Oh my god. Both year 10 entries here. So Luke Langs's stupidity, do I need to tell the tale? They thought it would be a fantastic idea to go onto the school laptops and search iPorn and then spread it to the whole school. Not just do it, but to spread the crime to everyone, including the guy famous for snitching. And were shocked when they got humiliated. And yeah, it wasn't a great night. And then that woman, Blue, found this scary woman to tell us off about a fire extinguisher. Probably the best given lecture ever because it scared the daylights out of all of us. That woman might be the single-handedly scariest person. And then we never saw her again. So I'm judging this based off the quality of the crime and the delivery of the lecture. But for me, as good as that woman was, nothing beats the stupidity that Luke Ainsley had that day. So it's got me that. Okay, next we've got Prince Andrew against Mike Key. Princess Anne was coming in, and I made a joke about Prince Andrew. That was clever, wasn't it? And then my key it got stolen, and Sam buried it or something, and then I was left outside for half an hour. That was bloody annoying, I'll be honest. So that was probably the most deserved lecture ever. So I've got to go with McKee, to be honest. Okay, next we've got the 2 a.m. lecture versus the music club late raids. God, do I need to say the 2 a.m. lecture? So Mr. Samuels had a go at us for just being teenage boys, basically, and he was quite justified. We were a bit disgusted, but and then the music club raids. Every Wednesday, it was music club was on, and we just go in there, take the piss, humiliate Glue. Every week, he'd have a go at us and threaten to do things, and he never did. So, in my opinion, as bad as our crimes were in the music room, Glue never did a thing to stop it. So, the 2 a.m. lecture was better. Okay, next we got the broken instruments versus the conference. Okay, so in year 8, I get two of these like egg-shaped instruments, and then I bash them together. They explode and go everywhere, and then we all walk off, move along, nothing to see it. It was almost comical. It was like a sitcom that was. And then the conference. I mean, where do I start? We did this thing in year 10, and it didn't really work because it was aimed at like 18-year-olds. We were like, I think 15 and 14 at the time. Yeah, that's right, year 10, and we just didn't take the mic. We just took the mic, breaded a Nazi salute one day. Luke and Ainsley were playing with their switches for half of one of them, and the woman was so bright. We deserved every lecture we got there, but God, the conference was one of the worst moments in school history. Okay, now we've got the stealing of PH11 against Bin Laden. The thing is with PH11 was that there was at least a motive there. At least there was like some good motive. I mean, it wasn't great, Luke convincing Ruff to steal it and the whole thing. And the leader went on about it for bloody months, but there was at least like deep down there was something good going on there. Whereas Bin Laden, it was just an inappropriate joke to make in an English lesson. The funnier thing about Bin Laden was that Miss Beveridge literally said that lesson she could have a bit of banter, and then she gave a lecture about this. So that was what made it funnier to me. Okay, the list of video scandal. I gave Daddy, so I did a video how to be listed, and whereas with my other how to be videos, the people either didn't really care or just were found it funny, listened, failed to see the humour in this video and beat me up. Daddy, we got like Leon say Daddy, and like, he didn't know. We were just taking a mick out of him. So I don't think that crime was worse, but I think the Liston video just, I deserved it. Like, I should have seen it coming, so it's got to be that one for me. Okay, we got Sam saying the N word versus the death of Miss Leach. Both year 11 entries here. We got Sam just saying the N word in the common room and getting caught, and Sam wrote a story about the death of Miss Leach. Both very deserved lectures for Sam, but for me, I think you can't defend really saying the N word, can you? Like that could win the whole thing, you know. Then we got Fletchy versus injecting piss. I realised right, the Fletchy thing was just a bit like it was a bit inappropriate. Like some of the questions I was asking her, like Fletchy, have you had a hickey? Like, I genuinely said that to her, and it's just like, why did I do that? And then injecting piss. I mean, we glazed Reese talk about injecting it. Like, what were we expecting? Like, we deserved it. Kevin lecture was brilliant because he didn't break character somehow the whole time. So fair play to him. You're just a TA versus the Miss Phillips scandal. Again, the you're just a TA thing was a bit mean now I think about it. Like, oh, I'm not going to listen to you because you're just a TA. Like, it's a bit like hierarchy, isn't it? So a bit straight. But then the Miss Phillips scandal. I mean, as we get later on, I don't know how far this will go because the Miss. I'll explain it in the second round a bit more. But basically, Luke told the teacher she wasn't very good at her job and just went home crying about it after she failed to see us watching anime for about 10 minutes with sound on and everything. So I'll explain why I think Miss Phillips, like, it wasn't the worst thing and why we weren't justified, but I think there's worse crimes on it than this, so I don't think it's going to win. Right, vandalising work. This is the Andrew Tate quote. Oh god, these are both bad. Um, in the whole assembly, someone vandalised the mural an artist spent weeks doing for no reason, and they got called down. Well, they didn't get named, but very deserved. And then Andrew Tate quote. Luke sent an Andrew Tate quote to Miss Kelly, and of course got the backlash he deserved, and then tried to argue that he was justified when he just wasn't. So I'd say the vandalising is probably the more deserved crime because at least the Andrew Tate quote, like, he could back it up somewhat, but both very awful crimes. Actually, tag team a satellite versus double cancer. When I'm out of nowhere, Reese said to Ainsley, let's tag team this satellite Lucy. It was more shocking because it was Reese, but it wasn't this absurd crime. And then double cancer, like I said, when Reese was gone for a month, I said Ainsley was like Reese had double cancer, and or was it Sam? No, I said Ainsley was like Reese with cancer, and Sam was like, that was it. And yeah, I get it. You can't make a joke about cancer. I think a joke about cancer is worse than a joke about tag teaming. So I'm gonna say double cancer here. All right, Charlie and the Hat and my pencil case. Oh, Charlie was like wanted to wear a hat indoors, and the lead didn't like this, and then Miss Alpen was like being really respectful about it, and then he chucked a glue sticker. He was in the wrong very clearly, but at least he had somewhat of a point, and the leader was making a big fuss. Whereas with the pencil case, Sam had no leg to stand on here. He just chucked the pencil case out the window for, I guess, no other reason to prove that he wasn't a bottler, but then arguably he just looked worse. So I get it's got to be the pencil case for me. Right, you're not our leader versus Zion getting humiliated. Link's very lucky in this round here because it's got to be Zion. I'm saying that right now, but Luke had an argument with the leader. I think it was about a seat or something, and then he said, "You're not our leader," and this was streamed to like, the whole secretary, like a team's meeting, and then he got kicked out of our class. So very not his brightest moment, was it? But then Zion pulled a fire alarm and got out in front of the whole entire school. So I think it's got to be him. Okay, next we've got Read the Room versus Your Mum Jokes. Read the Room. I made a joke about an American cop in a left back race. Like, it's not. It's just not a smart thing to do, is it? Like, it's just naive. Like, I'm so desperate to like be entertaining that like sometimes I forgot like there's a time and a place, and she made a point. I need. I need to go a minute. I'm doing something. Right, I apologise for the intrusion. Right, wait. So I think I was just it was just desperation, you know what I mean? To be entertaining. The mum jokes, they never like they kept trying, and I felt really bad for him because everything he say it was just like, yeah, mum's sorry, but then they couldn't stop them. So I think because they failed to deliver the lecture, this was a better lecture clearly because it actually had an impact. Right, Punch of the Computer versus the tier list. Oh god, so Luke and Ainsley bragged about punching the computer to Miss Beveridge 2 weeks after doing the crime and then trying to go at them. The issue is, right, it's 2 weeks later. Like, the computer's already been punched. Like, mate, like, good lecture and all. But then tier list, we made a tier list for students and teachers in front of students and teachers, and people were upset and all that. So for me, it's got to be the tier list. Like, how do we think that was a good idea? That was just dumb, wasn't it? So, and then we got Dunsville. This is the footy net. Oh, classic tale. This is so Dunsville. It was a Minecraft server. Reese and Ellis destroyed Ryan's house, and then Ryan was really upset about it, and then they abused him and like export. I've heard both accounts of the tale, both Ryan and Reese's side, and I still don't know who I believe. So then the footy net, we were warned this day, right? The funny thing about this lecture is that we were warned about the camera outside this day. So don't do anything on it. And then late Ainsley Luke broke the football net, and we were all pulled outside, confronted, and we all looked at the floor. It was just embarrassing. We deserved it, so he's got with that. Right, round two. Last, I believe, 16 now. So we got Luke and Ainsley's stupidity. This is the key. Oh my god, this could be a final. As bad, right? As bad as the key was, right? Nothing beats this. I feel like this could win the whole thing. I'm just putting it out there. Like, wow. Right, the 2 a.m. lecture was in the conference. So I think I'm moving the 2 a.m. lecture forward because A, it was just really out of touch for us to talk about that sort of thing. So obviously, and then with the conference, it was like it was so bad and so horrible for us that we kind of needed. Like, obviously, we were going to act out. It was so boring. So I think that's the defence I can make for us with the conference. Bin Laden was the list of video scandal. I think the thing with Bin Laden is it is a one-off joke. Like, it's a stupid joke, but then it's an obvious thing for someone to say, isn't it? So I think that the list of video scandal was a more dumb and deserved lecture. Okay, Sam saying the N-word was rejecting piss. Okay, my defence for Sam, and I can't believe I've defended him saying the bloody N-word, is that he's said it many times before, and he's done much worse in the common room that they never call. And whereas the injected piss, it was just insane and so deserved. So because at least with the Sam one, it was inside our private room, whereas the piss one was just around the school. We were literally going past downstairs classes while talking about this sort of thing. So that was the frustrating thing. Okay, we got the Miss Phillips scandal. This vandalising work. Okay, I'm moving vandalising work forward, and let me explain my issue with the Miss Phillips thing. So, as bad as we were, I think how the woman handled it. I think if you're going to a school with autistic kids, you should be prepared for people to say how they think sometimes, and you might get insulted, and you should have a thicker skin than that to work in a school, and that's just my opinion. But at the same time, we were completely out of order. I looked out of order to say that to her, and shouldn't have done it. But then I think no matter the work, there's no redeemability to it, so it's got to be that. Double cancer versus my pencil case. I think it's got to be the pencil case. Again, double cancer, it's a one-off joke, isn't it? Like, whereas the pencil case like this, what if something broke? Like, what if all my stuff broke? There could be a lawsuit. So, right, Zion's humiliation versus it's got to be Zion. I think it's got to be Zion. The tier list versus the football net. The tier list was bad because I can't want to move that one forward. But then the football net was insane that they did that after being told. So I think just go. That's probably the closest match. Okay, last state now. Nuclear stupidity was 2 a.m. 2 a.m. was just us being stupid, whereas this was like just on so many levels ridiculous. So the list of video scandal versus injecting piss. I think at least the Liston thing. Like, I didn't think he'd react like that. Like, this was just worse, I think. The vandalising of the work versus the pencil case. I think vandalising is a lot worse than chucking something out of a window because the pencil case, we retrieved it and it was fine. Whereas the vandalising, the marks were still there. So, Zion versus the football net. I almost don't want to move Zion on because I think it's too obvious. I don't want him to win this, really. And the football net was insane. But then at the same time, it does have to be Zion, I think, because he's crying, he's pulled the file up, and he's wasted the time of literally everyone in the whole school. Whereas the football net, like, they were able to play football again. So it has got to be Zion, hasn't it? Okay, last four. Luke Lane's stupidity versus the injecting piss. Both Luke Lane's crimes, and I think that the piss would at least, right? At least they were trying to be secretive about it. Whereas the iPod, they just went around telling every Tom, Dick, and Harry about it. So that was what made it worse to me. They could have got away with it if they didn't bloody snitch to everyone. So that's why it's going to the final. And the vandalising versus Zion. And I'd honestly argue that the vandalising is probably worse than what Zion did because Zion wasted police time, which is a bad thing. But the vandalising, it's a permanent scar, isn't it? And it's there forever. So I think it's got to be that. And then the final, Luke and Ainsley's stupidity versus the vandalising. And I'm not really going to surprise you. The vandalising, we don't know who it is, so I don't feel comfortable making the worst ever lecture be for someone we don't know. He's probably in a younger class. He maybe doesn't understand that you shouldn't do that. Obviously, it's a horrendous thing to do and a very deserved lecture, but whereas Luke and Ainsley should have been mature enough to know, A, you should never even think of dream of looking that up, and B, to never go around. It's the biggest clown moment in the school history, and it's also the most justified lecture in the school history, in my opinion. I think that's the winner. But I'd still say pretending to be sad is worse than this. On the other way, I think Ian's crime of pretending to be sad is worse than their crime there because Ian's like 40 odd and he shouldn't be making that mistake. So that is the tournament. I know it's a bit predictable, but come on, you can't argue against it, can you? So that is the most deserved lecture of all time. I will see you lot soon.